Hi, my name is Jose. I'm the LA1 for the teen department here at the San Luis Library, and today I'm going to show you an art technique called paper marbling. Now, paper marbling has existed for a long time, hundreds of years, and it can actually be dated back to 10th century Japan. It was by the name Suganashi, which translated means floating ink. The artist would, over a container of water, drop in ink and then create a pattern with it. They would then put a sheet of paper over the top of that water, pulling it back, revealing a really amazing marbling pattern, and it would come out something similar to this. So this marbling pattern happens when the ink is moved around and you run a dowel or a piece of paper or even a piece of metal through the ink, creating these patterns. And what we're going to be doing today is something very similar to that, only instead of using water and ink, we're going to use household items that you could possibly buy at a dollar store or at a Walmart. The list of the items is over here. And it's very important to know that when you buy the shaving foam, it actually has to say foam on it because it won't work if you're using gel or cream. So first things first, we got to shake up the foam. And then we're going to apply it to the paper plate. And you can use as much or as little foam as you'd like. And then we're going to spread it evenly on the paper plate. It's going to be very similar to icing a cake. And you can make it as smooth, lumpy, create ridges, use the spoon to create texture on it. It's really going to be up to you because this is going to be your own little unique piece of art. Now, this is going to be very messy, so I'm using an apron and I have gloves on. The reason is because we're going to be using food coloring, and food coloring can really stain your hands. To avoid that and avoid staining your clothes, I'm wearing these. So the next step is we're going to put food coloring on top of the shaving foam. Now, you can drop as much color, as little color as you want. I'm going to use some purple and blue and maybe some pink. And don't worry about spilling too much or too little. It's really up to you. Now you're going to be noticing something. The food coloring isn't absorbing into the foam. The reason for this is because of science, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it. We're dealing with stuff that's called hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Hydrophobic basically means that the molecules inside of one item won't dissolve into water. If you look at the example right here, we can see oil and water mixing together. They really don't. The idea of like oil does not mix into water. So the opposite of it is hydrophilic, which means it would dissolve into water. The example shows a piece of dye getting mixed into a water glass. So what does this mean about the art that we're working on right here? Well, the shaving foam has very similar properties as soap. I mean, they use a soap product inside of the foam which repels the water. So the dye has water in it, and so the foam is repelling it. That's why it's sitting on top of it. That's why when I'm mixing it with the chopstick here, it doesn't mix all the way together. It actually creates a top surface of color. Now, I'm going to be using two different types of paper. I'm going to be using watercolor paper and regular printer paper. The important thing to know is paper is fibrous, and because it's fibrous, it's going to pick up all the color dye on the top of the shaving foam. So we're going to put the first one on there, and it's a really quick process. As soon as I put it on there, I take it off, and it already has a little bit of an effect on it. Now you can use another dowel or a popsicle stick or a piece of paper, anything really. And as I'm pulling it apart, you can start to see this kind of a marble effect. happening. We're going to clean this up. It's a very messy process, I'll let you know that. Always have a trash can by you. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard for the next one, and then we're going to do it again. It's a very, very quick process. As soon as you put the paper in and pull it out, you start to have marbling. Isn't that something? Again, very messy though. So keep a trash can. Keep away from your clothes because it will stain your clothes. But really fun. This one I did about 10 minutes ago. So you can start to see the ink is starting to move around. And the shaving foam is starting to react too. Create a little pattern. Put down the paper. See, I still have some excess, so you can get some excess on there. And you have a design. You can use normal ones, pull away from it, clean it up, and you got a marbling pattern. What also you can do is add a little bit of water. Remember how we said that the foam is hydrophobic, so it's going to repel the water, but the ink in the dye is going to react to it. We'll mix it a little bit. Put down our paper. And look at that. That's some cool marbling. Whatever tool you use to remove the excess of it will reveal some amazing patterns. Well, I hope you liked my little technique that I showed you today. If you're interested in learning more about it, you can look at Paint Play Explore by Ray Missingman, Paint Pouring Workshop by Marcy Farrow, and Paint Pouring Mastering Fluid Art by Rick Chidell. I hope you have a great day and have a blast creating some amazing art pieces. Bye!